Hello, welcome everybody to the second day of our first Wine Media Virtual Summit. My name is Sarah Woolner and I work for Zephyr Conferences, who puts on the Wine Media Conference. A little bit about Zephyr: there are 4 of us and we do put on 5 conferences around the world in the food, wine, and beer industry. The WMC specifically was started in 2008 as the Wine Bloggers Conference. I'm sure some of you recognize that name and have been with us since then, so thank you. We've since expanded to have many other sessions for writers, bloggers, influencers, and wine industry members who want to connect with wine media. One thing that makes this conference pretty unique is that we travel to new locations each year. Last year, we were exploring and tasting wines in Australia. This year, we were supposed to be in Eugene, Oregon. Sadly, we had to postpone to 2021, but I'm glad to be here virtually with you all today. And I really hope to see you next year in person so we can cheers, catch up, and chat. This was actually my first job out of college, and I feel extremely lucky to put on events and interact with the wine community and all of you. I'm new to the wine world, I would say, but I am learning a lot and I'm loving every second. I do all the marketing for the Wine Media Conference, so if you tweet, post, or tag the WMC on social media, I'm the one reading all those posts, so feel free to say hi and be nice. So I see how you found the chat section. I think it's on the right side of everyone's screen. Feel free to use that during the session. I will send the chat log to our panelists so they can read your highs and thoughts and everything. If you do have a question specifically for them, please post it in the Ask a Question section in the bottom middle-ish of your screen. That way I can keep track of those and then send them to them. So I don't want to miss any of your questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time because we do have a really interesting panel for you today. So I would like to pass it off to Sarita Cheaves.
Hey, everybody. I'm Sarita Cheaves, and I invite me up on Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everywhere. That's my wine blog. And I'm also a part of the Swirl Suite. And everybody else can introduce themselves now.
Okay, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Glynis, a web-based wine educational resource. I am on most social media, Facebook, Twitter, IG, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today and to, drink some wine and talk about issues that need to be talked about with the lovely my other colleagues of the Swirl Suite.
Tanisha, you go first.
Go ahead, Tanisha.
Okay. I'm Tanisha Townsend, currently based in Paris, France. I've been here almost 6 years. I'm a wine educator, podcaster. In the before times, I was a food and wine tour guide and did day trips to Champagne. You can find me on social media as Girl Meets Glass, everywhere, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. So that's where you can find me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leslie Frelow, and I am with Vino 301 Wine Concierge, all things Maryland wine. And we offer wine tours and wine tasting classes and virtual classes now. And I can't wait for today's chat. I'm really excited about this.
Yay.
I couldn't sleep last night. I was really excited about this.
Me either. Was it because we were going to do this chat? Maybe that's.
I think yes.
Before we get started,
and we have one other member, Sarita, who I think she may be having technical difficulties right now getting on. So, but she should be on with us shortly. So
I'm here.
Ladies, do we want to start with the questions while Sarita joins us?
Sarita's here.
I'm here.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just can't see her. I'm sorry.
Clearly, we started drinking already.
I thought we had a surprise.
What's everybody drinking? What's everybody drinking? Glynis, what are you drinking?
I am drinking one of my favorite Chardonnays, Stag's Leap.
Ooh, nice.
Chardonnay made in the Chablis style. So very crisp, stainless steel, fermented, just like I like it. So cheers.
Tanisha, what about you? I know it's 4 o'clock in Paris.
Right. I'm like, I am the bad influence. Since it is 4 o'clock, I said I was going to drink. So I wanted them to drink with me because it wouldn't have looked good if I was drinking alone. So it's 4 here, so it's perfectly fine. Charlene, 10 a.m. Cheers to you, sis. This is a Syrah from the Rhone Valley. It's Domaine Saint-Amand. It is woman-owned. So I love to support them, and I really, really like the Syrah. I've had most of the wines in their line, but the Syrah is amazing.
Looks delicious.
It does. Leslie, what about you?
And I have a Pinot Blanc.
Ooh.
And this is a German one. I told you guys that I've been into German wines lately, and it is Domaine Weinbach. So I'm excited about this one here.
Yum.
I chose to drink from South Africa
And
today.
for some reason, I can't hear Sarita. So if she is speaking, okay, can you just repeat the questions? Because I can only hear Glynis and Tanisha.
Okay, will do. I'm drinking South Africa today. Aslina. Shout out to Tawani Price. Everybody follow her. She lives in South Africa right now. And drink more South African wine.
Yeah, she is single-handedly going to let you know about South African wine.
Yeah, and she's also been on the Swirl Suite podcast. So check that out too.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So this is the first question. We're going to dive right into the diversity conversation. Has there been a new brand awareness of your brand as a result of the Black Lives Matter anti-racist movement?
Do you want us to repeat it for?
Yeah, I can't. I can't hear her at all.
Yeah.
I need to pull them up. You want to go ahead, Tanisha, while I pull it up? Or?
Yeah, so the question was, has there been a new brand awareness to our particular brand because of the Black Lives Matter movement? For me, I can say absolutely. I have never been this busy, this followed, this interacted with, which I'm okay with because I'm also getting this paid. So it's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people are now finding me, offering certain projects, asking for my expertise. I've guested on several podcasts in the past few weeks. I've done several virtual tastings, webinars, things like that because of this. And I'm pleased with it because it's stuff that I love to do. I love talking about wine and I love interacting with people. And to be able to do that on a grander scale, I definitely appreciate that. I'm glad people are looking and finding me.
I have to agree with Tanisha. I think my brand I've received a lot more hits and people are following on Facebook and IG because of the movement. I think my brand itself and the name Vino Noir, people picked up on that, plus the Aya Ra, which is an Egyptian symbol that they searched it out and like, okay, I'll start following you and can you give me some recommendations? Got a couple of wine tastings booked. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that because I do have friends in the neighborhood who will hire me. But with COVID, I'm trying, I don't want to take my glasses and have to bring them home. So still working that out, but we'll figure it out.
I would say the same too. I'm excited about the exposure that Vino 301 is getting, and then just the opportunity to learn about other brands that I wasn't aware of in this area and make connections with other people in the wine industry and then people who are wine enthusiasts. So I'm grateful for this opportunity now to broaden my footprint, and not only my footprint, but my awareness of other people who are in the industry.
It's pretty much the same across the board for me. Definitely more followers, more things written up about the Swirl Suite and myself. More invites to Instagram lives and podcasts and things of that nature. But I also gained a new mentor. So on Twitter, there's a very popular podcaster, another wine podcaster who is much bigger than us. he said he's willing to mentor people of color, and I thought that was really cool. He's helped me
Outstanding.
out a great deal, so yeah, definitely a plus.
Does he work with the remedial like me?
That might be above his pay grade, sis.
What efforts have you taken to facilitate conversations of inclusion and diversity? Tanisha, you look like you itching to answer this.
I'm actually not. I'm actually the opposite. I'm itching not to answer that. So if Glynis or Leslie,
I'm going to repeat it so Leslie can start thinking about it. It's what efforts have you taken to facilitate conversations of inclusion and diversity? You want to go, Leslie, or you want me to take it? So I don't have to.
I'll go. So it's funny because I feel that I'm already diverse, and so, but people who have an interest in wine, we are doing this 30-day series now on rosés, and so in my selection of rosés, I'm intentionally searching out African American brands, brands of color, so like also in South Africa, what have you, to make people aware, and then just to tag them, because I think people aren't aware that it is a Black-owned brand. So to build that awareness and let other people see, hey, it can be found. So it's not like, this unicorn here. It is available, and this is how you get to it. And go to their website and patronize their website.
Yeah. And I think also what we've been doing collectively under the leadership of Sarita is having Black-owned wine proprietors, Black-owned winemakers, just having people of color who are in the wine industry on the podcast. So shameless plug, go check out our podcast because we have quite a few. So you too can be diverse.
I don't think it's shameless. We literally have on the t-shirt. I don't think it's shameless.
So I think that's pretty much like the main thing. Just being around friends or being around people outside of my normal circle, they know that I have a background in wine, be them persons of color or not. And they will ask, well, who should we look for? What should we taste? And that just brings about an awareness that there are people of color out here who are educated in wine and can provide sound advice on how to find your favorite and what tickles your palate.
Yes, I second all of that, especially this Real Sweet podcast. And also, if you've been following me for a while, I've been highlighting us way before the world discovered us. So during the month of February, I've been doing this for years. I would highlight Blacks in this industry, whether they're winemakers or wine shop owners or restaurant owners, whatever. So yeah, we already been diverse. So yeah.
Yep. Sarita, correct.
Right. I'm like everything Sarita said. That.
I'm amen in it too, even though I can't hear her. Amen.
But your amen came in right on time. Like,
it did. It was
very good.
Okay. Social media influencers, they are seeking methods to create diversity and inclusion within their audience. Any advice for them?
Create it. Like ask Black creators. Ask Black creators. Because it's not even just, okay, I want to get the Black audience to pay attention to me. Mm-hmm. Black people or BIPOC in general, we want to look at a brand and see ourselves. We want to see something that resonates with us. And if we go through your feed and we see a whole bunch of images of people that don't look like us, then we don't feel that we are a part of that and that it speaks to us. If you just have something as simple as a few photos on your Instagram page, you start adding images on your Facebook. That is a way to actually be inclusive and getting in Black BIPOC influencers to help you with that, creating content, not just like I want your audience, but ask them to help you create content so that you will have this content, you will have these stock photos, you will have these images, you will have these videos, and they will be more diverse, which then in turn makes your brand more diverse and more acceptable for a diverse crowd and following.
And
I
can I
agree.
just piggyback
Do
on
you want
that,
me to read it
Tanisha?
again, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I just wanted to piggyback on Tanisha's statement, and I think it is important that that it's genuine. I mean, everyone can see where you just went on Google or had some stock photos or what have you. So to do that, you have to put in some work and reach out to people and talk to people and find out, you know, what aligns with your demographic and your market that you are working to, and build a genuine connection. Because if not, it just looks like, oh, you're just joining in because this is the in vogue thing to do, and then next month you'll move on to something else.
I I agree with what both of you already said. I think also once you start including people of color, you get more comfortable with us and with what we have to offer. I'm just gonna leave that right there.
And I know you guys said ask and follow and all those things, but hire and pay people of color to
Right,
help you.
right. And that
That's it.
brings in, yep.
That's it. Okay. What myths continue to be perpetrated among minorities in the wine industry?
What myths
What
continue
myths?
to be myths
Yeah.
continue to be perpetuated
Yeah.
among the wine industry was the question, Leslie, just to repeat it
Thank
for
you.
you. Who's going?
Like no one wants to touch it. Okay.
Oh, I'll touch it. One, that we don't drink wine.
Right.
We don't drink wine is a myth that we only drink cocktails.
Yeah, and then we don't drink fine wine too.
Right, and we
Sadly.
don't drink fine
Yeah.
wine. And there was recently an article in Wine Enthusiast that talked about specifically Black women, our buying dollars that are anticipated to be at 1 trillion in 2021. So I think that's a big myth.
One couple of things that we don't know about wine. One, two, that we only drink sweet wine.
Yeah, that's in
And
the
I'm not
comment.
talking about a Sauterne or ice wine. We're not going to call the M wine out right now. We do like something besides that. So wine shops and big box wine stores don't lead us, just because we're people of color, don't lead us to the Anjou. Talk to us, get to know us, because we are educated in wine and we know what types and styles of wines we like. So I think those are, I guess, my pet peeves about myths for us.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing when thinking about myths is the best way to get past them or get around them is not to make assumptions about anyone, not to make assumptions about what we know, about what we like, about what we are, or anything like that. Talk to us like you don't know anything about us at all. So ask us the questions you would ask anyone. Give us the same service, give us the same attention, give us the same talking points that you would any other customer. Not thinking about, oh, well, I don't think they like, or I don't think they're interested in. No, talk, figure it out first. Don't already assume something because you heard it, saw it, Googled it, tweeted it, whatever.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
I agree with all of that. And also there are some myths about the Black dollar. They don't, a lot of people don't believe that we don't generate followers. We don't generate engagement, and we don't generate dollars in wine, which is not true. I think Julia Coney has pretty much opposed all of that by herself. But I wanted to point out this website. It's called My Black Receipt. And so there's this young lady who created this website for people to upload their receipts, the amounts and the companies, the Black-owned companies that you're spending with. And as of yesterday, that number, since she started in June, is 8 billion in Black businesses. That's how much we're spending for Black businesses right now.
The buying power right there.
Yep.
Like to see it. Like, who are these people? I need to.
You're like,
sorry.
Right.
Exactly.
Now that the anti-racist movement, Black Lives Matter, is like not really a headline right now. Have you seen real change?
Leslie, have we seen real change right now that the Black BLM has kind of subsided? That's the question.
I think we've started to see change. I think the door has been cracked open. I know that there's a number of individuals, a friend to the show, Julia. I think Julia's name is nice to like see the comments here because then I can see like who's been mentioned. But Julia is a friend to the show and the efforts that she has taken. Then there's other individuals who have also put together resources that people can go and identify and find other African Americans in the industry. But I don't think that that is where we should stop. I think it's just the start. When we start seeing more people like us in position of power, then we can maybe coast a little, but until we see that, until we have more opportunities, until we're on all panels now and not just looking for, oh, we are going to have a Black panel, we should have Black representation on all panels, then I think that is when we can say, yeah, there's been true progress.
Leslie is so PC, and I mean politically correct.
Oh gosh, Glynis gonna get kicked out of everything
with Black media right now. BLM is the flavor of the month. Let's have this be sustainable. Like Leslie said, hire us, in other forms, but besides being the diversity and inclusion manager, you can hire us in other parts of the company as well. The marketing, the instructors, the distributors. There's other jobs that we can perform well and make your companies make money, not only for people of color, but for people of color. So to answer the question itself, it's BLM right now is the flavor of the month. What we want it to be sustainable and be the flavor of the century.
Yeah, and I think that's something that'll take a little time to see. I think it's something that just started, and so we will see if there has been real changes over a period of time. Has this been sustainable? Are we doing things in a sustainable way, making changes that can be sustainable? I think we can come back and have this conversation next year and see where we are, and then I think we will really be able to more accurately answer that question of if we've seen real change.
Now, I don't know if wine enthusiasts just want to jump on the bandwagon, but have y'all seen the 40 under 40? It's a lot of brown folks in there.
It's a lot, and a couple of ones that we know too.
Yes.
It was like that last year too. I think they have stepped up since I can't remember the girl Sab Jackson. She did that list a few years back. I think the year after that, wine enthusiasts started including more BIPOC in their list. So this is something that they actually have been doing. I have seen some talk on Twitter about why that list looks the way it does. And I'm like, I don't think it looks any different than it did last year or the year before. The fact that it is 2020 and we are just now having a Black woman on the cover of a magazine, I think that is very telling. But I mean, she killed that cover. So there's not enough. It could have been on that cover. She killed it. She absolutely killed that cover.
Tanisha, do you remember Wine Enthusiast had a couple of years ago that caricature of a Black female? It wasn't a picture of anyone that we know, but there was a caricature of a Black female on it. So they slowly have been ramping up when it comes to. Do you remember that one, Leslie?
Yeah, it was the fashion issue.
The fashion issue.
It was the fashion issue. Yeah.
So I guess to wrap this question up, Zephyr Wine Bloggers Conference we can be on other panels as well.
Yeah.
And not just be the panel that's Real Talk with Black Wine.
All right. So, back to social media influencers who want to be allies. Any advice to them?
Do it. I mean, that's your advice. That's it. That's the advice. Do it. Be an ally. Like, learn what you need to do, read about it, understand what the issues are, and then step up when you can. Do it.
Yeah.
I wondered, how can social media influencers become an ally and support minority brands, Leslie?
I have to agree with Tanisha Nike. Just do it. Just,
Right.
just just do it. And let me say this. If you were sitting at home now and you're like, well, I just don't know any Black people, or I'm not comfortable enough to do it, change is uncomfortable. But once you do it and you do it again genuinely, it is fine. It is fine. But you got to take the step.
Most definitely. Step out of your comfort zone, just like she said. And I know you at least might have one person of color as a friend.
Don't rely on them though, because I'm a lot of people's only Black friend, and that gets a little hard. I'm over it. Like, don't do that to me.
Y'all answered it.
One thing I will say is, when a lot of people look at use the excuse of, I don't know what to do or where to find it or how to look, but you look for anything else in your life. Like, if you start a business, you don't just say, hey, I have my business, the doors are open. People are just, no, you advertise your business and you research, you figure out your target market, you find out where they are. I mean, you might do panels and, you do some Google searches and, you do some different things and you figure out where your audience is and you target them. This is no different.
Right.
If this is the audience you want, or if you want your audience to be diverse, do the research. Do it. The information is there. And now it is so accessible. There are books, there are audiobooks. There are websites, there are webinars, so many webinars now, since people can't really go out. You can get on a Zoom call just about every other day and get the information you need.
Exactly.
Also, if you don't have any people in your circle already, you might want to look at that too, just in your own life. Just a little.
Diversify your friend list.
And there's so many groups on a business level. Like, this is the wine. This is the marketing. Join a network.
Right.
Join a network. There's so many networks out there that you can join, and LinkedIn that you can participate in.
Absolutely. I agree with everything. We're going to move on. So, what microaggressions have you guys experienced and continue to experience?
What microaggressions have we experienced and continue to experience? I'm just repeating. I feel sorry for Leslie.
I know. I'm part laughing at the question and part laughing at the echo.
Thank you, Glynis. Glynis, you can go first.
What microaggressions? I guess we kind of talked about this before. Is you drink other wines besides that? One. I didn't know you all spin like that. Two. I didn't know you have, or you were interested in getting a wine certification. I don't know. Do you all really travel like that? Do y'all want me to keep going? Or you want it?
No, you don't have to. I mean, because you all just sends me every time. That you all situation. So
yeah. So those are mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tanisha, you had talked about this a while ago when you were teaching classes, and people would question your authority or your knowledge in
sure.
class, and just to test you to see how much you really knew and if you were qualified to be there. That
The
is a big one.
challenges.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
challenges.
You don't know me. You know I'm never going to argue with them. I'll answer a couple of questions, but at the end of the day, if I'm standing in the front, I'm supposed to be here, and they're going to cut me a check regardless. So whether you get the knowledge that I have or not, I mean, you can waste your time by trying to challenge me, or you can sit down and listen to what I have to say. You can take a pick. It's up to you.
It's engagement. You have to be engaged.
I think I'll add, a lot of times when we go to these conferences and speak on panels, we notice when you put us in the smallest room. It's small, yet very big, a small move, but it's real big. And we noticed that, it's a panel of Black women and you add a white girl at the end, as if we need her in order to make a great panel. We notice those small little microaggressions, we know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next question.
Yes, next question. What resources do you recommend people read or watch to understand the diversity of the minority market?
What resources? What resources?
That's not a resource. The world, like just literally stepping outside. That's not a resource. No, seriously, I'm not even asking for a friend. Like I'm asking for me. That's not a resource. I mean, y'all can get other resources, but I also want people to know it's not that hard. Like, stop thinking that it has to be so difficult. Mm-hmm. Literally, walk outside. When you go to your Target, like that's not diverse. You don't see minorities. You don't see other people, and that's why I'm saying this. I mean, I know I'm saying it in a joking way. Y'all know me. This is how I talk. But I'm saying that so people understand it's not that hard. It's not as difficult as people think. It's not as difficult as some people are making it out to be.
Exactly. It's not hard at all. It's there's this wonderful search engine called Google.
What? Tell us more.
Just type in Black wine. It'll pop up like this. It'll pop up people of color in this. Or I think Leslie, we spoke about this before. Leslie, what a good point up. And I ain't trying to steal a thunder. Start following these hashtags. Hashtag Black women in wine. Mm-hmm. Hashtag Black wine professionals. Hashtag people of color in wine. That would help.
Mm-hmm. There's a question in here, and I know we would take it all questions at the end, but this kind of relates. Are there websites or magazines to look into market research or minority spending? Kind of since we're talking about the minority market and dollar. If you know of websites or magazines, or if anyone else who is listening knows of any, they can type them in the chat.
Wow.
You can always go to the Department of Commerce, the mm-hmm. United States Department of Commerce, and they have demographics on everything, but you can look in there for minority spending specifically. It won't be under wine, but consumables or what have you. You can look there. Also, there's also, what is it? The Wall Street Journal, I think. Maybe not the Wall Street Journal, but Forbes. Yeah, Forbes magazine has information too. So again, this is a business. And so if you are really serious about being inclusive, go to those business resources to help you find that demographic information. And again, I think somebody put in the chat, which is a very good point, that we are not a monolithic audience. Exactly. So we all don't drink the same wine. We all don't study from the same region. So again, you have to figure out who is your ideal customer, target audience, or what have you, and work from there.
The only difference is the color of skin. We do the same things as others.
Okay. So, what changes would you guys like to see?
What changes would we like to see? More diverse. Let's just use the Wine Bloggers Conference and these panels. I think it's a running thing. We said it before. We don't particularly care to always be the 1% or the 10% on the panel. We can make up other panels where there are several other people or of other races. Let me put it like that. But I would love to see that change, because I was going to the Wine Bloggers Conference since 2012, and my first year it was 2 of us at the Wine Bloggers Conference, and there wasn't really an inclusion piece. I stumbled around, and if you are not an extrovert, you kind of get left out, and you don't really get invited. So I like, where you guys going at night? Is everybody going back to the room? And then I started to get invites to the after parties that my first year I didn't even know existed. So if you see a person before at these conferences and things of that nature, and they are new to it, reach out and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Come on in.
Yeah. What I'd like to see more is I'd like to see more people in BIPOC in management, in executive level positions. I'd like to see more of us in making these decisions, so we don't have to have these conversations about some of these ads that are offensive, some of these campaigns that are offensive. If there are people in the room that are of color, then we will not have these issues with some of these offensive ads and these offensive labels and things like that. We would like the opportunity to be management executives, and to have access to and an opportunity to have these positions.
Decision makers, seat at the table.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to see, echoing everything you guys said, but I also would like to see people getting paid for the work that they do. And not just, oh, I'm going, I'll give you a couple of bottles of wine, which, that is nice, but being paid when you're asked to participate in events and to judge events or what have you, and being aware of that this is not, kept in only a certain number of people are exposed to that. So opening the doors so more people are aware of it.
No, y'all hit the nail on the head. And those are all the questions that we had ahead of time. So we have plenty of room for our Q&A.
Yeah, there's some you said ask a question at the bottom.
9 in the ask a question.
What'd you say?
I was just reading where Sarah told us to look. There are 9 questions there.
There are 9 questions. I think I saw one. Do you remember your first glass of wine?
Wow. Yes.
I'm not doing that. I do remember it. I'm not telling you what it was.
I know. I'm like, woo. Yeah. Oh, I'm not embarrassed. Yeah. The first glass of wine, I don't even think it was a glass. It came in a bottle. It was like, oh, were you needy? And some other stuff.
In a red cup. Your first red cup of wine.
Right. So yes, we do remember the first glass, but I think all our glasses have evolved since the first glass of wine.
I'm not telling mine.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, I don't remember like the first glass, but the beginning of my drinking phase, like when I started to get into wine, it was the Chateau Saint Michel, Fetzer, kind of the stuff you find in the liquor store. Then I got better, thank God.
I remember the first, since we're real talk with Black wine media, my first glass of wine that I realized that people didn't take people of color serious. I was in a small restaurant in North Carolina, and by that point, because I was working for corporate America, in my mind, I already picked out, I knew I liked a certain Cabernet Sauvignon. It was easy to order. I didn't have to guess. And I was in this small little town, and I ordered that particular glass of wine, that Cabernet Sauvignon. And the young waitress took the order, went to the bar, brought the glass back to my table. And I said, sweetheart, this is not what I ordered. So for the sake of this conversation, I'm just going to say Sterling Cabernet, right? So I go back to, I could see she was uncomfortable. I said, this is okay. I took the glass and went back to the bar. And it was the bartender and another man sitting at the bar. And let's be transparent. The individuals were all Anglo-Saxon. And the bartender said, well, that's what I poured. I said, sir, that's not what's in this glass. And he said, yes, it is. And he was getting defensive for no reason, which happens. Another microaggression. To be challenged, quote unquote, a person of color of what's in a glass and what we know that it's not in the glass is an issue. So the gentleman sitting at the end of the bar, praise God, it was pre-COVID, because this was years ago. He said, do you mind if I taste it? I said, no. Gave him the glass. And he said to the bartender, that's not Sterling Cabernet Sauvignon. Give her a bottle on the house. He was the owner.
Wow.
He was the owner. So stand your ground. If you have developed a palate and you know what a Cabernet Sauvignon is supposed to taste like, you know what a Sauvignon Blanc is supposed to taste like, Leslie.
And you know what that's supposed to taste like.
Yeah, that's the running joke. Stand your ground just as nice. Say, okay, because the waiter or waitress might have picked up the wrong glass. Take the glass to the bar and say, hey, this is not what I ordered. Or just order the whole bottle, then they have to pour it in front of you. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Or if the wine is bad.
Oh, that too. Mm-hmm.
If the wine is bad, that has happened where I'm like, there's something wrong with this wine, and have been questioned about that.
Yeah. Like, do you know, like you are not supposed to know that it's corked or that it's, it's cooked or
been oxidized.
That it's past its prime.
Yeah.
And they get upset that you say, sweetheart, this is no longer good. And I'm like, why are you upset? I'm spending my money.
Yeah. Anybody else on that? I can move on to another question I have here. Okay.
Few questions in the box, so I want to get to those.
Okay. Can you give us advice on how to spot insincere inclusion or pandering and what we can do as allies to combat that?
I forgot the answer. Y'all go ahead.
It's hard to give advice on how to spot that because I think we are still navigating it. We are still navigating the inclusion. And so a lot of offers, and I won't use me in this example, I'll use me. A lot of offers I do take because it sounds good and I can only see it at a certain level right now. But over time, and if doing a little back research, you can kind of see, or you get a feeling. Like there have been times where I have taken things and I've gotten a feeling that I don't think this is the most sincere thing. I don't think I'm being included in a good way. If someone asked me to come on something, and this is something that happened to me actually a couple weeks ago. Oh, and can you bring your other Black friend? And can you talk to this person? And maybe they could come too. And I'm like, oh, you just messed it all up. Like that's insincere. And for someone else to combat that, if you were to see that, just ask them, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you including this person? Do you think you need to include them in this way? Are we painting them in the best light? Mm-hmm. And if you are bringing someone on, make sure you actually are including them. Just having a Black person or a person of color in a situation does not make it inclusive.
Yeah.
So make sure you're actually including them and making the environment for them a good environment where they can be successful, they can grow, and that kind of thing. So yeah, Amber, I'm sorry. I said a whole bunch of things that may or may not have completely answered your question. I think I gave you some bullet points to go on.
So I would say just dispel myths. If you're in a circle where you know that there are no other people of color and conversations take place, because I know this to be true. Conversations take place talking about people of color as an ally, as a person who wants to help. Say, you know what, that's not true. I know several women of color, men of color who have wine businesses, who are level 3, level 4s, Reggie, you know, just to shout him out, that are very educated in wine. So I guess my plug would be dispel the myths when we're not there to defend ourselves.
I like it.
I think you guys said it all.
Yeah, same. Yes, agreed. Okay, so oof, no, can't ask that.
Please, Leslie, we can't see you anymore. Just to let you know.
Oh,
All right, so
can you see me?
No.
No? Okay.
You're welcome,
all
Reggie.
right. All right. Many people love wine, but not everyone pursues professional education and a career in wine. Was there a moment that you recall making those decisions? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
very.
I knew
Yep.
exactly when my moment. I just told y'all when my moment, when he challenged me, and I knew that wasn't what was in that glass. So,
What was the question?
Oh,
Many people love. I'll be the echo this time.
okay.
Thank you.
okay,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
Many people love wine, but not everyone pursues professional education and a career in wine. Was there a moment that you recall making those decisions? I can say there was a definite moment, 2 moments. For me, when I first started, I did my level 3. That was 2009, so that was a while ago. And so level 2, even before that. And for me, there wasn't this much education or so many books available for me to learn. And I was interested in wine, and that was the only way I knew to learn more. So that was my kind of professional education, getting into wine, doing it that way. The career part came later through another professional education opportunity. I went to Burgundy for a week to study to be a official Burgundy wine instructor. And in that week, went through all the regions, met all the people, was completely intimidated and overwhelmed by the people that I was there with, because I still felt like I didn't belong. I was, of course, the only Black. I was the youngest. And at that time, I didn't have any certifications. I think I just had level 2, which is nothing when I'm there with MWs and MSs and diploma students. So after finishing that week, passing that certification, then I was like, oh, wait, like wine is a career. Like you can do things, you can be things, you can go places. I want to do this. So that was the moment where I made the decision to more fiercely pursue a career in wine. I was doing it on the back burner then. I didn't end up moving to France till much later, but I more fiercely pursued a career in wine after that.
Leslie?
I would say when I was trying to figure out if I wanted a career in wine, I had answered an ad with the Maryland Wine Association to be an intern. I was still working full time, but I was being an intern. And I met with Kevin Addicks, now of Grow and Fortified. And I went there with the idea of interning to learn more about wine and what I was going to do. And Kevin said, no, I have this business idea for you to do. And that's when it occurred to me, oh, there are other opportunities. There are more opportunities than restaurant service that you could pursue in wine, because at that time, that's all I knew was restaurant service in wine. And that's when I said, yes, this is the career path that I want to take.
I think my answer, I mean, it's unique because I've always like sort of, because wine isn't my full-time job. I've worked at a winery, I have a wine blog, and then the podcast. But I think watching the people around me, especially you guys at the Swirl Suite, has sort of, it's like a motivator, like, oh, this can be done. So I think just watching people and highlighting stories, and especially the stories that we've highlighted on the Swirl Suite this month, all Black businesses, all Black wine shops. I mean, it's amazing. So they're constant motivators around me.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know what? I joked a little bit, but I think going to WBC 12 was the motivator behind me getting the wine certifications. WSET 2 and WSET 3. So it just propelled me.
Diploma next.
All right, I think we got time for maybe one more question. Let's see. Do you prefer people seeking your wine expertise because of your race or your wine knowledge?
Wine knowledge, of course. Oh, Tia, you gonna repeat it for Leslie?
I was just gonna repeat your answer. Why knowledge? So Leslie, just why knowledge. The question is, do you want to be approached, or do you want people to be more? Do you want people to seek your wine expertise because of your race or because of your wine knowledge?
Oh, because of my wine knowledge.
Check.
Yeah, because of my wine knowledge.
Again, we just sit here and talk. It doesn't make a difference because we're people of color.
Yeah.
They don't make the assumption. If we say we have wine businesses, we say we have wine certifications, don't seek it out just because we are people of color. We're all human. It's definitely the knowledge.
And I think the only difference that our race probably brings into it is how we deliver the information. Yeah. How we just had this girlfriend talk, and that's how it came across. And other people just happen to be asking us questions and listening to us talk amongst ourselves. So the delivery may be different the way we do it, but you still have the information. We still have the knowledge. We just will deliver it as any person will deliver it different than another person. That's the only thing.
And it's also perspective. My perspective and my background and what I have, I provide a different perspective. But wine knowledge is wine knowledge, and everybody in this field understands that there's continuous opportunities for growth. But that's what you're respected on, and that's why people hire you. Quite honestly, is well, I would hope people would hire you because of your wine knowledge.
Exactly.
I mean, if you hire me because of my race, I'm still gonna get the job done. I'm a beast.
Right.
Doesn't matter how you got me in it. You're getting it done. Oh,
because we have to. We have to.
Right. Like you're sorry.
That's funny, Tanisha, that you said that. I think as people of color, we put more on us because we are people of color. So we seek the extra certifications and the wine knowledge, from reading books, the wine Bible, just all these things, because we are people of color, because we know on a daily basis on our full-time jobs, if wine is not your full-time job, that we have to be, in our minds, we have to be knowledgeable and be able to sit at the table if asked, or if not, or say, open the door because I do have the expertise to be sitting next to you.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions in the that was one of the questions in the chat too. Do we feel like we? It was mentioned in another session that do women and BIPOC feel like they take these certifications as armor? And going back to the situation I mentioned when I was in Burgundy taking that certification, I remember how I felt around those other people that were certified. So I was like, okay, I will never be again in a room. And they say, oh, introduce yourself. And I'm like, yes, my name's Tanisha. No. So now I want to say, my name's Tanisha. I have this. So I stacked and got a ton of certifications. Diploma's next. I'm just keep manifesting that in my life. But yeah, so I just stacked them because I'm like, this is what I need to, one, for me to feel better, and even just to, true confessions here and total transparency, to make me feel better and to make me feel like, okay, I have all these, I belong here, I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
And so that also helped me. So not just for other people, it helped me too.
All right, so we got one more interesting question. As successful podcasters, what do you see as the next progression in virtual wine programming? How can we take what we've learned in 2020 to keep up access, education, tasting opportunities for more people?
Oh Lord, I should have recorded that so I could repeat it to Leslie.
Right.
Well, start answering it and I'll figure out what the question is.
Or we're just running out of time and you can answer it in the chat.
Thanks for your support.
Virtual wine programming, I think just the idea of developing more virtual wine programming.
Mm-hmm.
I think now that is something that we have to recognize. It is a thing. I say that a lot. It is a thing, and it needs to be paid attention to. Focus needs to be put on it. Programming is virtual now. People really got into it. People enjoy it, and that is something that is going to carry on even in the after times.
Yeah.
What we've learned in 2020 to keep up education, tasting opportunities, making more things virtual, promoting things more. If you have a certification course, if you have a wine school, if you have a webinar, Amber, who's in here and asked another question, she has the website virtual tasting events or virtual wine tasting events that you can go to and find out what's happening literally all over the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that's happening online in regards to wine, I think there's some beer stuff in there, but you can go there and find it. So that's how you can keep up with the information of what's going on. But everyone, if you haven't already, should definitely be putting things online. I was in the session last night about vodcasting. That's, something else that people are now into and something that is getting a little more push. So jump in on that if you feel comfortable being on video. I mean, since we're all here today, I guess the four of us have to be okay with video. So yeah, look into. Maybe I get a ring light and work out.
I think you have to consistently be creative because what was the last
Well, I
month
think I read the question in the chat.
Oh, hold on. Wait,
hold
Leslie, hold on. Because you can't
let Leslie go.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Leslie, and then we'll get back to Sarita. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just said I read the question in the chat. And I would say that I think virtual is here to stay. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about virtual is your reach is much further. Mm-hmm. Like I say, I'm all things Maryland wine, but I've been able to give classes in California and in Houston now, which I haven't before. So I think if you're trying to figure out what to do virtually, don't limit it to your current geographic footprint, that you should consider a larger audience in reaching out to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sarita.
That's okay. I was going to say, be creative. There are a lot of people out of work. And there's chefs out of work, their waitresses out of work, and people who know food and wine, invite them to your classes to help teach. Invite the chefs to prepare some things that you can send to people to do a wine pairing. Always be creative. I mean, we're going to be in this virtual box for a while, so be creative.
Well, since I'm the least technologically savvy person here, they've answered it. Here's Tanya.
Yeah, that's a running joke. I'm sorry, the rest of y'all are like, I don't know what they're laughing at. Yeah, bless her heart.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions anyone here has?
Look like we got 1 minute left.
Wow, that went fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to tell everyone who has attended. It says it's 177 people. Wow.
Y'all got it early. Appreciate that.
Right. Well, late for me. It's 5 o'clock. So definitely gonna finish this glass of wine. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us, being active participants. This chat has been lit this entire session. Thank you for your questions, your comments, answering each other's questions, and also thank you for supporting us. We said in the beginning where you could find us all. You have Vino Noir, Vino 301, Girl Meets Glass, Vine Me Up. And we just really appreciate your support, your being here, all of that.
Thank you
again, Reggie.
I was going to just say thank you to Zephyr. Thank you to
Thank
Zephyr
you.
and the Wine Media Conference for having us. Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate the invitation, and it's been great. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was an honor and a joy and a pleasure to work with you and talk with you all. And if anybody here has not listened to your podcast, I mean, just look at your shirt. It's a great podcast. So please go listen. The Swirl Suite, yeah.
Just swirl sweep that up.
Oh yeah, I threw him up. That's a little too much.
I can't stand up. I may or may not.
That's our after dark segment. If you haven't had our after dark segment, you're not ready.
That's hilarious. Well, yes, thank you so much for joining us. And yes, the chat, fantastic questions. Thank you everybody for engaging, and for anyone here that's live for getting up early. I know some of us on the Pacific time, it is a little bit early. So thank you so much. It was great spending the morning with you. If you did want to rewatch this session or you joined us late, you can find the link in the chat right now, and then that will give you access to the recording. So please go check it out. We do have 4 other sessions today, and I would love to see you all there as well. So you can also go check out our full agenda. The link is in the chat. And yeah, it was, again, an honor, a pleasure to have you. Thank you for continuing this always relevant conversation. And I hope to see you guys in the future.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sarita.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.